Hello and welcome to another exciting episode of Utopia News WARCAST. Today's date is July 10th, year 4. This is your host, Wind. We missed an episode yesterday, but that's probably going to become more common as we'll no longer be doing the daily war update on the Sundays. It's just too busy of a day for me, so that will be a day off. I'll work on some other things in the background in the meantime, but definitely, since yesterday there really hasn't been too much to report on, so we're going to look at some of the war victories from yesterday, as well as review what's going on today because as you saw, no wars have been completed since the last podcast. However, that's not entirely true as upon checking the charts one last time, I did see that someone has actually completed their war, but just after the 7th when I post that chart. So we'll look at that quickly, but it will be mentioned on the chart for tomorrow. So just wanted to mention that because we did see that it was there. Also, we are reaching the end of year 4 within, less than, well, it's not too long from now, but 14 hours from now, we will be ending year 4 and moving into year 5. So you can expect that, little creative piece at the beginning should be posted probably before the Warcast, shortly after, or rather before the, the thing I post on the 7th. That will be posted afterwards. So be sure to check that out. Let's move on to the wars from the last day that we didn't check out. All right, so as we can see here, Mythcraft defeats Wolfpack, Ghetto Nightmare defeats Monsters, and Revenge of the 80s defeats the Dickening. I mean, we kind of expected to see that. I think Revenge of the 80s was even shocked when that war was even accepted. So let's just take a quick look at those right now. Let's get this war thing out of the way. Thank you to anyone tuning in. Appreciate your viewership. All right, so looking at the Wolfpack and Mythcraft war, I mean, Wolfpack looks like they had a strong lead going into this. This is just a land, of course, but definitely petered off towards the end. As you can see, Mythcraft really came back and took back their acres and then some. A quick look on the net worth side of things shows Wolfpack, in control total net worth wise. But again, keep in mind they were down 2 provinces basically, so it's hard to deal with an equal skill kingdom on even footings when you are missing 2 provinces. I mean, it hurts a lot. You can see it in the honor here. Wolfpack was really never able to achieve, they achieved convergence a couple times, but they were never able to diverge and get on top of Mythcraft's here. Mythcraft walked away with a decent amount of honor from this war win, whereas Wolfpack, they basically just lost a little bit, not a huge loss. I'm sure they'll make it up going forward. So I hope both of you guys enjoy your ceasefires. Let's move on to the next war. Ghetto Nightmare defeats Monsters. I think this was one of those wars we kind of expected to see, especially since Ghetto Nightmare is 3 provinces plus 2 Monsters. So I mean, Monsters, did fight a tough war looking at the honor side of things. But, clearly Ghetto Nightmare really cleaned up and walked away with most of it. This war was very painful for Monsters, it looks like, on the on the honor side as well as the land side. I mean, they didn't really go anywhere. They kind of got stuck at the same level where they were, whereas Ghetto Nightmare grew almost 10k acres and then some. So it's definitely a huge gap between them now. So both of you enjoy your ceasefire. The Dickening versus Revenge of the 80s. One thing I wanted to point out here, this is the war that kind of shocked Revenge of the 80s when it happened. They were up 1 player already. They had a pretty good turnaround the last war that they had, so we know Revenge of the 80s is a pretty skilled kingdom. Um, as I said, the one thing I want to point out about the Dickening, though, I mean, as you can see, they really um, lost a good amount of acres, not too much compared to where they started the war actually, but compared to what they could have gained, um, they didn't exactly go anywhere. However, they are currently exploring heavy duty and ceasefire, so it looks like they're doing as best they can to catch up to Revenge of the 80s, but they might be overextending themselves, especially not having that extra war win definitely makes a difference. in books especially, let me tell you. All right, so I hope both of you enjoy your ceasefires and best of luck in your next war. Let's move on to the wars currently in progress. I want to pull up the chart here. I just got to switch this out. This is the old chart from wars completed in June 7th. From the posting, we're going to pull up July here. As you can see, no one's really completed any of their wars recently. Um, so, we're hoping that's something we can change with the next podcast. And as I said, there's definitely one of these wars that has been completed. So yeah, let's move on and take a look at what's going on right now. Let's get this war thing out of the way. There we go. Make sure we don't ruin this thing. All right, let's take a look at the top 10 quickly because there has been some interesting movement here. As you can see, Romania has actually grown to be the largest kingdom in the world after Pillow Talk takes a steep dive here. Looks like there's possibly some strong wave action in their war syndicate not far behind. Chain Gang 4-4 coming up close. We got a couple others that are pretty close up there. First timers. It looks like they grew quite a bit in the recent action. But yeah, as you can see here, Romania Syndicate, Evolution, Evolution no longer at the top, Syndicate and Romania joining them up there. Uh, Romania has just reached out recently to me, so hopefully I'll be able to get a little bit more information on their next war. So best of luck to everyone looking for war or currently in war or just entering war. Let's move on to some of the wars in progress now. Marauding Critters versus Unknown Kingdom. We're going to do something a little bit differently. We're just going to take a look here. Okay, looks like Unknown Kingdom is kind of doing a little bit of back and forth here. As you can see, they're kind of growing a little bit and then shrinking a little bit in terms of acres. They're more or less staying the same. So nothing really fancy going on there. It looks like Unknown Kingdom's doing a good job maintaining the net worth lead. However, they put a decent gap here between themselves. Fairly decent, as you can see. Quick look here. Both sides have taken significant damage. However, one side more than, has less net worth than the other. They are on equal footing. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take a look at the net worth per acre and see, who's in the top positions here. Um, lowest net worth per acre. So I mean, ferry, this avian, very low net worth per acre. If this is a TM, they must have been massacred a bunch of times because they don't have nearly enough net worth to be, what would be considered an unbreakable TM at this stage of the game. So definitely thinking that might be some kind of attacker. I mean, as you can see here, there's a lot of provinces that are mashed up and very small on very low net worth per acre. I mean, that's not the best sign. Let's take a look at the other side here. Red Pony of Bishop. I mean, these net worth breakers aren't that much better. I mean, they're probably even worse actually. Do they even have any 1,000 acres? Okay, they do. It's the fairies at the top, or the bottom top, wherever you want to sort this. Currently, we're looking at it from least to most. So let's flip this around. So let's see, the highest concentration of net worth is sitting on these three fairies. Looks like this one's grown since the war started. Maybe this was a restarted province. But as you can see, even this ferry that's very tiny and low net worth still has a very high net worth per acre compared to this other ferry sitting on higher acres, but with a lower net worth per acre. Um, and again, at the top end here, what do we have? We have a dwarf and an orc that have been chained. Those are attackers, and a few fairies. So here's their fairy. Here's their, TM basically. So we got 4 basically against 3, or this fairy is probably in decent shape too. I mean, it just looks like a smaller fairy, but still, that extra mana can prove helpful. So it looks like they both have kind of fairies in play right now, although it looks like Marauding Critters might have um, the stronger fairies, definitely overall. Whether that's going to be enough to win them the war come down to, how much offensive power they have. So quickly looking at the honor side of things, um, looks like Unknown Kingdom's in a good position right now, despite having the smaller TMs. I mean, it really comes down to what kind of damage we're looking at on those TMs. So I mean, really that's all that's about. I mean, we'll flip it around to the land side thing here. Um, who's in the top position here? Marauding Critters, definitely has the stronger fairy net worth wise. It doesn't mean that's going to win them the war. On the flip side, Unknown Kingdom, uh, they're in the honor. They're in all three positions right now: land, net worth, and honor. Unknown Kingdom's controlling it. That's the Red Kingdom. So definitely, I think this is their war to win. But Marauding Critters could drag this on longer. I mean, we're already 182 hours. Um, but it doesn't look like they're losing anything significantly. I mean, honor-wise, land-wise, I mean, they've both kind of grown a little bit in a sense. So, wave over wave, they're kind of doing a good job sticking together. I think what this is going to come down to is who can break whoever's fairies at the top first, and take full control of that bracket. Like for instance, if these three provinces are taken out, Marauding Critters will be in an extremely bad position compared to where they are now. Conversely, if these five provinces were taken out, Marauding Critters would certainly be in an excellent position right now. So you can see some of the hurdles that both sides have to jump through. So best of luck to both of you on that one. Let's move on to the next war. WTF versus Utopian Crosswords. Now, Utopian Crosswords has assured me to trust in the TM wall. So we're going to do that and check out to see what's going on. But conversely, WTF has assured me to trust in um, their strategy as well. So let's see who wins on this one. I mean, there's definitely a close battle. No need to break out here or cry about wars being extended in any way. Both sides are definitely fighting hard. No side is really clear victor. Looking at the net worth per acre side, we got a bunch of fatties on WTF, which insinuates that maybe that land can easily be taken back, but that comes down to how much net worth, or rather, sorry, how much offense these orcs actually have on Crossword's side, because I mean, as you can see, the smallest net worth per acres are all of the orcs first, basically. So as you can see, WTF has done a good job of trying to disable these orcs as best they can. I mean, look at their most powerful orc here is 208. They only have two orcs above 200 net worth per acre, and they're only in the 700 to 800 acre range. So if they do take all those acres, they will be very susceptible to ops and spells, kind of like I'm sure WTF is experiencing right now. But look at this Dryad. Holy cow, good job, Erd Tree. You really ran away with that Dryad. Um, and this dwarf as well, probably in a good position. They got some fat orcs here, as you can tell. Their net worth breaker is very low, so probably very susceptible to ops and spells. But the kingdom overall, WTF is very big. So I mean, no matter what happens, WTF is walking away with a lot of acres here. If they do take a victory, even if they don't, I mean, Utopian Crossroads might pass them, but by dumping their pool and ceasefire, WTF could easily surpass Utopian Crosswords, unless they, of course, would dump their pool as well. Um, but to what end? I mean, they're already pretty high up there on the chart, so probably no need to do that. Either way, the key takeaway from this is WTF is going to walk away with a decent chunk of honor if they do win, as well as a ton of land. So, um, hopefully you guys are ready for that if that is to occur. Just a reminder, both sides are orc-orc versus orc-orc in terms of the core. I believe these elves are fairies and these fairies are elves. So, it's a strong combinations on both sides. It almost seems like they're just facing the exact same kingdom. I mean, not too much difference here. As you can see, it's not like, war is intensified, if anything, since the last broadcast for sure. Quick look again, the net worth. We're making the smiley face here. We're 115 hours in. This war really doesn't have to end anytime soon. It just depends, how much acres does Crosswords want? I mean, can they hold these acres if they take them back? I'm thinking, it's still going to be hard. Looking at the net worth breaker on the flip side here, they got one orc looks like was chained pretty badly. 440, 49 net worth breaker. I mean, that's not super huge, but still a good feat. Um, they've got these elves are pretty big. I mean, they've got a pretty good balance here. I guess it comes down to, what your goals are as the kingdom and what you define as victory. But as I said, it doesn't seem like this war needs to end anytime soon. But if Utopian Crosswords is able to converge and diverge again on this, and they can actually take some of these acres back and hold them, or continue to do damage with them, I'm not sure, but either way, as I said, it looks like WTF's walking away with a lot of acres on this one. Let's move on to the next war. Boats and Hoes versus Congrats to the new daddy, Alex. Awesome. All right. Congratulations on both sides. Tons of damage. Almost 3 million net worth on either side at 103 hours in. Um, acres wise, almost identical. Wow, these guys are really having a nice close war. Honor points, I mean, congrats. Looks like Red Kingdom is actually doing a little bit better currently on the honor side of things. Land-wise, you know, it looks like they went in, had a nice tight battle, and it looks like a few provinces may have been disabled here. Let's take a look here. Oh yes, yes, you see these provinces under 300 acres. Not good times for them. As you can see, the chains have been significantly weaker on that side. That's likely what we're seeing here. Possibly the coup de grace, you know, finishing move um, that the enemy here looks like they're going to start doing. So definitely, again, looks like strong performance from blue. They were never able to fully diverge, and red came back with a vengeance and started taking out provinces with what we see here. Um, so this looks like, you know, they're trying to indicate to Blue Kingdom, hey, you know, this is ours. We want this. End it now. All right. Good luck to both of you. Moving on to the next war. Worms Checkmate versus Barcoloco. I mean, I'm not entirely shocked that this war isn't over yet. I didn't expect Barco to give up at min time. You know, I'm sure they're going to take every opportunity they have to win every war. But looking at this, it'd be interesting to see how they would do that. But it looks like on the honor side of things, they're definitely making some movement. So, you know, they're definitely going to walk away with some honor out of this one. Quick look at where the net worth is being concentrated. Looks like a lot of attackers, orcs and dwarves here on the lowest net worth, highest acres on worms. Avians, again, all attackers. These are your avian orcs, all at the top. You know, all the highest acre provinces basically, except for these halflings. You know, and they are on the lowest net worth. Flip side to see who's at the top net worths. Looks like chained provinces, of course, what we expect. But here we go, alien abduction, very good position. Very strong ferry on Worm's side, definitely contributing to um, you know, the damage that they're doing. However, there are these two halflings on Barcoloco's side that I'm sure are kicking butt. But of course, we can't forget these two ferries up here as well. I mean, they're in a pretty good position. But if you're looking at net worth wise, I mean, this ferry over here is definitely in a much stronger position. And even this other ferry down here, I mean, looks like Worms has the TM battle on this one. Both sides are probably doing, you know, a pretty good job taking acres, that's for sure. But Barcoloco doesn't seem to be in a good position right now. So I'm curious to see what they're holding out for. Maybe they just want a nice, easy weekend. Um, so, you know, I guess they would withdraw in the morning or something so they can finish their ceasefire um, Saturday or something. I don't know. Whatever their plan is to go back to war, but they did sit out of war for a really long time um, before this most recent war. So let's see. Maybe they'll just sit out of war for another week and just grow slowly on the server. Okay, good luck to both of you there. Let's look at the next one, Olympus versus Sports Drinks. This is the war that I said that had recently concluded. Olympus defeats Sports Drinks. We definitely saw that coming, I think, with 3 extra provinces on Olympus's side. Of course, we'll review this war quickly in the next episode, but as you can see here, it looks like really no contest for Olympus. They took full advantage of having those extra provinces. Let's move on to the next war, Evil Friends versus Retirement Home. Let's see what we got here. Evil Friends and Retirement Home looks like they're doing a good job actually. Retirement Home, that is, in taking acres, but can they maintain them? Net worth side of things says yes, they are maintaining their net worth lead as well. Quick look at the honor side of things shows a little bit of a different story. Evil Friends has climbed on top. However, recently it seems like Red Kingdom's been able to achieve convergence a few times, but looks like it's been getting a little bit stronger as well. This war is only about 37 hours in, so we're not quite at min time yet. Let's take a look at the net worth concentration. Lowest seems to be on this Elf, which is probably a hybrid attacker. Hans Gruber there versus Mary Singh, which is an avian, 165 net worth per acre. Still a stronger province than this one, that's for sure. Quick look at who else is here. Some dwarfs, dryads, undead. Looks like attackers. This halfling probably a newer province with such a low net worth. Definitely not a good position for evil friends, I don't think. Let's look at the top net worth breaker. Looks like some very strong chains happening to retirement home. That probably explains why evil friends is taking the honor, because they're definitely going for a lot of damage here. Yeah, as you can see, minus 1,300. I mean, that's this Kryn province was hit significantly hard. But looking at who's sitting on net worth concentrations in a bigger position, we got this human here, which is pretty high. I mean, that could be. I would think that's probably some kind of turtley attacker, but there very well could be some type of strange TM. Fairy here. Again, this is a typical TM. This human again, another big human in that position, possibly just an attacker, possibly a hybrid attacker. Looking at the enemy side, evil friends. Looks like they have an elf in an okay position here. This avian's big. I mean, the TM side of things definitely, looks like retirement homes in a better position right now. Um, well, let's see how this war goes. As I said, we're not even at min time yet, so best of luck to both sides. Duck says Quack versus having a beer. Now I do have some notes on this one. It's only 36 hours in. Duck says Quack is a bigger kingdom. Having a beer looks like they're taking those acres. Can they hold them? Looking at the net worth side of things, looks like they can. So having a beer is doing some significant damage on their waves. Quick look at the honor side of things. Again, having a beer seems to be dominating in all three categories. Let's quick look at the net worth concentration. Having a beer. They got a small avian here, probably a restarted province. Otherwise, it looks like this fairy probably just wasn't trained very much or has been attacked a fair bit. It is the monarch, so I would expect that to be some kind of TM. It's possible they marched on this TM, but you never know. This could have very well have been a hybrid attacker, because they do have quite a few fairies here. But again, I wouldn't be surprised if this was a TM that maybe was massacred or something. We'll find out when we look at the data. Tactical special, these were all attackers. Otherwise, at the lower end of the net worth chains here, um, you notice that their lowest province is actually a stronger concentration than having a beer side. However, this dryad is in a very good position considering how many acres he has. Same with this dwarf, typical cow province here. This dwarf is probably generating a ton of runes and GC. Definitely something to watch out for, which goes back to having a beer seems to have all three metrics, but looking at these provinces that each of them have kind of tells a different story. Flipping to the top side here, it looks like some nice damage here. 69, all right. 5, 3, 6 to little creatures, pretty good, pretty good. Versus less than 500 on Roboduck here. In terms of attack damage, it looks like there's significantly more on Duck says Quack, and that's probably why having a beer is winning. They're just damaging the provinces more, but there is still some big provinces for them to deal with before they can certainly declare victory on this one. Quick look here. According to this, 4-3 has a Bene, and 4-3-4-9, sorry, has the Onslaught. So let's see. So yeah, that's 4-9. So that's the Beer Kingdom. So they have the Onslaught. The Beer sent 2 dragons, an emerald and a sapphire. Both were slain. Looks like 4-3 only sent 1 emerald. They also slew that as well. Looking at the attacks made, as you can see, Beers has made more. They've also taken more acres with their attacks. See, there are some massacres here, but not too much. Maybe enough to take out that one fairy a little bit. That was the monarch here. Where is he? He's down here. Yeah, maybe those massacres were on them because, as I said, his net worth breaker is a little bit low. But again, this is not a very low cap for a TM in this kingdom's position. Actually, I mean, he's still in a good spot. But I mean, look at the amount of net worth damage that's been done to him. Definitely in the top 5 or 6 there for sure in terms of damage taken. Quick look here to see who's doing what. Uniques, they're only 10 ahead on beers. Who has taken the most damage here? 10, 19 attacks on little creatures. That was the one I pointed out earlier. Then on the enemy side, looks like 27 on Moby Duck. You didn't even really see that there. Quacky Potter. I mean, there's definitely more attacks. Robo Duck was one that we pointed out, but definitely looks like Moby Duck is taking the most attacks here. Looking at the unique side of things, you know, 4s and 3s versus 4s and 3s, pretty similar there. I think the charts speak for themselves on this one. Grimacing, let me know if you need any other info or facts. Thank you so much to Beers for that one. Um, as I said, charts speak for themselves. Let's move on to the next war. At War, Stay the Fuck Out versus Faceless War Dbags 9-1 PSO. Love acronyms. All right, look at this one. Shows that, wow, this is a micro kingdom versus a full-size kingdom. So what do we expect to happen here? You'd expect total domination. Is that what's happening? Kind of looks like, I wouldn't say this is total domination, but you know, stfo seems to be growing. I mean, they're both growing. Very strange war here. Maybe this is just someone buttoned by accident, or someone's really mad, so they threw the kingdom into a war. Who knows? Definitely, anyone feel free to let me know. You know, the name might say it all here. The Faceless War Dbags. Definitely reach out to me if you have a story to share. I'd definitely like to know how you guys managed to get yourselves into this war where it's basically 2-1. I mean, I think we know what to expect here. Either way, both sides benefit. Remember, you get that sweet, sweet ceasefire. All right, moving on to the next one. We have a random theme versus our friends Dyslexic. Looks like random theme is down 2 provinces here. So, of course, what do we expect? Well, we expect Dyslexic to win this, of course, because they have more provinces. Is that the case? Looks like Dyslexic Defenders is not in the best position net worth or land wise at the moment. Honor wise, not in a top position either. They haven't achieved convergence either, but they are in, you know, only 34 hours in, so definitely a tough battle. No need to give up anytime soon. Min time is approaching. Quick look at the the net worth concentration here. Lowest is 189 on Dyslexic to 141 on Random Theme. Looks like this is kind of just a fatter halfling. Definitely undertrained or something, or maybe just an inactive province. Who knows? With this one, doesn't really look like too much is going on there either way. You know, we got attackers here at the top. This halfling, yeah, could be some type of rogue type province. Maybe it's a halfling fairy, but there are elves and fairies as well. So, and a dark elf. So it's possible these halflings might actually be some kind of attacker thief combination is possibly what I'm thinking. Quick look at the flip side to see who's got the most concentration breaker. Well, that's a nice number. That undead is almost up to 1,000 net worth breaker. Definitely nowhere near the record so far for this age, which I think was closer to 1800, 1900. Very nicely done to everyone who can achieve those nice concentrations from their actions in war. So good job there. Um, let's take a look at you know, reasonable provinces here. This halfling is definitely a TM. Haphazard Chaos. Fairy's definitely a TM. This halfling's most likely a TM, and so is this elf. So they got 4 good TMs in this spot here, and one of them was a monarch. Looking at the enemy here, you know, definitely 1 fairy here, 3 fairies in a very good position, very large position, but otherwise it looks like mostly attackers on Dyslexic side, soaking up all the acres. But it does, you know, again, they have a pretty decent net worth as well, so they're definitely able to hold it. I mean, even at around 1,500 acres, or, you know, this guy here, 1,600 acres, there's still a 230 net worth breaker. So that's pretty good. I mean, if we look at the core of attackers here, like their undeads, you know, aside from the chained guys here, um, you know, they're not too high. as either, but I mean, this guy's a pretty big attacker. So these wars are always weird to see. You know, we got some really big provinces with lots of offense, clearly able to throw a lot of weight around, and they're definitely in net worth range. Some of these guys are much bigger, actually. So it'll be interesting to see what Dyslexic Defenders plans on doing here. Definitely going to be a tough war for them to win, but it looks like they're trending upwards right now. So best of luck to both sides in that one. Looking at the next war, Drunken Party versus Chaos Neverending. Let's see here. We got equal sides here. Look at the land. What does it tell us? Well, it tells us that Chaos is a bigger kingdom going into this, and still is the bigger kingdom after 22 hours. Um, Looks like Drunken Party though has managed to do some good damage to them on their waves, and actually getting on top of them in the net worth side of things and actually diverging. Looks like Chaos is starting their wave right now, or getting close to doing another wave. So we should see that line climbing a lot closer together. Quick look at the honor thing to kind of gauge who they're attacking and TM ops and things like that. Chaos, again, you know, the bigger land province, bigger land kingdom going into this one. They were also more honor going into this one. And just like net worth, it seems like Blue Kingdom has managed to flip that around on them. So it'll be interesting to see what happens here. Quick look at the net worth concentration shows a bunch of attackers at the top, at the low end for Chaos Neverending, and also probably attackers as well, and Drunken Party at the top with the lowest net worth breakers. But as you can see, um, you know, Drunken Party has a much stronger net worth concentration, possibly more elites trained. Let's take a look at to see who's the most concentrated. The top here, you know, you got one halfling, fairy, 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 fairy. So very strong TM wall here that Chaos Neverending is facing. What does Chaos have? Well, they have some fairies too, but definitely not in the same position as the other one, and definitely not as many. I mean, I only count 3 here. Um, you know, these two are still in pretty good shape, but not compared to you know, these 3 fairies down here, or these 3 fairies up here. Um, and even this halfling, definitely tough customers to deal with. So, you know, it looks like Drunken Party has a nice strong TM wall that Chaos is going to have to figure out how to deal with. Whether they have the offense, it doesn't seem to like it's going to matter too much, because they've already taken a ton of damage, lost a ton of acres and net and honor. But as I said, their wave is coming up, so let's see what they can do. Best of luck to both sides, but definitely looks like Drunken Party is going to be a tough match for Chaos. Here we go. Next one, Get a Job versus Lord of the Rings. This war is only 15 hours in. We're taking a quick look here. You know, Get a Job still the bigger kingdom. Quick look at the net worth side of things. Looks like Lord of the Rings has kind of grew to meet them, grew a little bit too much, and now they're on about even footing. But it looks like, you know, Get a Job has just finished their wave and brought them back down. So we should see another wave from Lord of the Rings probably pretty soon, and Get a Job at the same time-ish, it seems like. Quick look at the honor side of things shows Get a Job pulling away. So, you know, Get a Job seems to be going on net worth and honor. Also rebounding on the land side of things, so definitely just finished their wave. So wait for Lord of the Rings wave to see what happens. Quick look at the net worth per acre concentration. Looks like a bunch of big attackers on Lord of the Rings, which is what we kind of expect to see, and big attackers on Get a Job, what we expect to see. Higher net worth concentration, we got some chained attackers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, some pretty decently damaged attackers on Lord of the Rings side. Here's their first TM, this fairy. Maybe some of these humans are fairies as well, or something weird, some weird combination. Otherwise, they only have 2 fairies. Maybe the dwarves are TMs and the humans and undeads are their attack core. That would make more sense, actually. Um, but I don't see why not. I mean, you could run a human fairy if you wanted to. There are benefits to that, but let's not go into that. Obviously, Lord of the Rings is down provinces as well, so we totally expect Get a Job to be taking this one. You know, look at Get a Job's concentration, though. They got 1, 2 fairies, 3 fairies at the top in pretty good positions. 4 fairies. So here's the TM wall on this side. Lord of the Rings is going to have to be able to defeat that TM wall to make any progress. And with their beat up attackers and humans and undeads. I'm not sure if they'll be able to cut it. Especially if those undeads get taken out, I don't think those humans will be able to swing enough offense unless they've really been stacking that honor, or sorry, the science, the humans that is, um, out of war and in their previous wars to get a lot of those nice science buffs. Otherwise, I think those humans, depending on what they pick, might have trouble building up enough net worth to, or sorry, yeah, net worth and the offensive power to actually break these fairies if they are fairies or some other combination that gets the higher pluses to um, elite defensives points. So best of luck to both sides, but it definitely looks like Get a Job has a stronger TM position there. Moving on to the next war, Myths and Legends, Message for War versus Pirates. Pirates back at war. Let's see if they can win again. Looks like Pirates was the bigger kingdom going into this one, net worth wise and land wise. Still in control. On our side of things, Pirates doesn't quite have it. Although, it seems like they're making some progress here. I just don't think they'll be able to take that honor away from Myths and Legends. Quick look at the concentration side. Whoa, those are some low numbers on small provinces. But as you can see, there's a lot of big provinces um, on both sides here still, as this war is only 11 hours in, so plenty of carnage to happen still. Equal sides, lots of gnomes on pirates, so I expect them to do pretty well, um, especially if they're leveraging their credit usage correctly. Let's see who's on the top side of things here. A Dryad, looks like a fairy was attacked, several Dryads attacked here, sitting at higher net worth concentrations. However, here's our TMs, fairy, halfling, elf, fairy down here. And then on the flip side, we've got a fairy, which looks like this was a TM that was attacked. Um, so they looks like they tried to take out this fairy to start the war on pirate's side. Professor Okra, which is probably just an attacker that got chained. Dryad's probably just another decent attacker, support caster. Fairy, this is the first real TM here, and of course these gnomes. I'm not sure exactly what they're doing with the gnomes. The gnomes can be pretty versatile, just killing machines. Let's just leave it at that. NS, just lots of NS. So these could be some type of attacker, thief, which makes total sense because they get free training for their specs as well as their thieves. So these are great intel provinces and also great night strike provinces. And when they do get attacked, they'll have a decent wizard's per acre, so they're great at fireballs as well. Nice thing about gnomes is they can sit on almost no defense at the smaller acreage and just keep rolling in with attacks and still be able to train troops with no income because they keep getting credits. So that's enough about gnomes. Best of luck to both sides on this one. Let's move on to our last war here. Okay. The Chain Gang versus Pillow Talk. 9 hours in, so Pillow Talk just recently tagged his evolution. As of the last broadcast, I believe, where we featured their wars. So they've recently tagged they're going into war with the Chain Gang. Let's see how this plays out. Looks like Pillow Talk is a bigger one going in. They definitely took more damage land-wise. Let's check out the net worth side to see if we're seeing a similar pattern here. Um, Not so much. I mean, they lost a bit more land. Looks like it's about even damage. Pillow Talk looks like they had a faster wave execution. Chain Gang looks like they had a slightly slower execution. I know the Monarch and Pillow Talk, the waves usually go pretty quickly generally, so that could explain that. Maybe Chain Gang just took a little bit more time to get mustered. But again, the war is just starting, so plenty of time to go. Chain Gang looks like they took a hit on the honor side. But again, look at the damage already. 9 hours in and almost 2 million damage on Pillow Talk versus 1.5 on Chain Gang. Acre side, both sides are down. Chain Gang slightly down less, but definitely Chain Gang again taking that honor, doing a good job controlling that honor. Quick look at the net worth concentration. These are some high numbers. Very nice to see actually a lot of Dark Elves sitting at the lower side of things. These are probably TMs. So really this war hasn't gone too far to see what's going on yet. Here we go. That's a nice number. Congratulations, Chain Gang. That's an excellent number. Again, nowhere near the record of about 1,800, but 1,327 net worth per acre on Lick This Peanut Butter Off My Dwarf. Um, land change. Wow, look at those land changes on those three provinces. Honestly, those four provinces. Very strong chains here. It's going to be hard for Pillow Talk to deal with that. And I think that's again why there's so much damage here already, and so much honor has already switched sides versus the net worth breaker concentrations on here. These are all attackers, by the way. Not as much, but they did hit more provinces, so they spread out the damage a little bit more. Um, I'm always a big fan of really taking out provinces as soon as possible when you have the opportunity to, and of course as many as possible. And by take them out, I mean, like this, or like this.